5 Chinese 747 cargo planes vanished near Iran on 15th June. They left China, crossed Central Asia, and then, poof, disappeared from radar near Iranian airspace. Officially, they were headed to Europe, but they never arrived. No one knows what they carried, but these planes are often used for heavy military gear, so people are talking. Could China be secretly sending weapons to Iran? There's no solid proof, but the timing, right after Israeli strikes on Iran, makes everyone wonder. And if China is involved, it's not because they want to end this war, but it's the complete opposite. They don't want this war to end anytime soon. Let me explain why. China needs oil. A lot of it. And about 16% of its seaborne crude oil comes from Iran, and 53% comes from the Gulf region as a whole. If this war shuts down Iran's oil fields or blocks the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow choke point where 20% of the world's oil passes, China gonna deal with panic. Gas prices spike, factories slow down, and people get angry. And China can't let that happen. But it's not just oil. There's a bigger reason China might want this war to drag on. It keeps the United States busy. Think about it like a chess game. The US is China's biggest rival. Every soldier, ship, or dollar America spends fighting in the Middle East is one less focused on China. A long war in Iran would tie the US down, draining its money and attention. And while America's stuck in the desert, China gets a free hand to focus on what it really wants: Taiwan. See, Taiwan is a small island, but for China, it's a big deal. It's a democracy, makes most of the world's microchips, and China claims it as its own. Taking Taiwan would make China the dominant power in Asia, but the US has promised to defend Taiwan, so China needs America distracted. A messy war in Iran does exactly that. And history backs this prediction really well. The US spent over $2 trillion on wars in Iraq and Afghanistan from 2001 to 2020. Those wars lasted years, pulling in troops, ships, and planes. If the US gets dragged into a war with Iran, it could be the same story. Another forever war. And China knows this. Every missile the US fires at Iran is one less in its stockpile to deter China. Every aircraft carrier sent to the Gulf is one less near Taiwan. It's simple math. A distracted America gives China room to move. Another thing to watch out for is that geopolitical relations between China and Iran are already tight. In 2021, they signed a 25-year deal, covering oil, roads, ports, and even military cooperation. Iran gets Chinese money to build stuff like railways and 5G networks. In return, China gets cheap Iranian oil, locked in for decades. If Iran collapses, China loses a key piece of that puzzle. So China has a reason to keep Iran standing, even if it's just barely. And that's why China sends weapons like missiles, air defenses, or even satellite data, which could help Iran hold out longer. Although it's not enough to beat Israel or the US, but enough to make the war a hard grind. Think about how the US sends weapons to Ukraine to keep Russia bogged down. China could do the same here, quietly supplying Iran to wear out its enemies. Those missing cargo planes can be exactly this. But we don't know for sure, but China surely has all the means and the motive. China's done this before, sort of. Look at Syria. Iran backed Syria's leader, Bashar al-Assad, when the world wanted him gone. It wasn't about love, it was strategy. A weak Assad was easy for Iran to control. China could play the same game with Iran. If Iran gets desperate, China can step in with loans, weapons, or diplomatic cover. But there's a catch. Iran would owe China big time. Every deal comes with strings. Iran might have to do what China says, like keeping the Strait of Hormuz open or letting Chinese companies run its ports. And this is why this is a trap. Iran wants to stay independent. It's been shouting about sovereignty since its 1979 revolution. But if it leans on China to survive this war, it might lose control. Take the Strait of Hormuz. Iran loves threatening to close it to scare the world. But China gets half its oil through that strait. If China's calling the shots, Iran might be told, don't touch it. Suddenly, Iran's biggest weapon is off the table. It's like Syria's Assad. He's still in power, but Iran and Russia pull his strings. Iran could end up the same way, kept alive, but not free. So, why doesn't China want this war to end? Because a long war serves China's goals. It keeps Iran alive, protects China's oil, and most importantly, distracts the US. A bogged-down America can't focus on stopping China in Asia. That gives Beijing time to build its navy, test Taiwan's defenses, and shift the world's power balance. China doesn't care about Iran's ideology or the Middle East's politics. It's cold, hard strategy. A short war leaves China on the sidelines. A long one gives it a chance to reshape the world. Right now, China's watching, waiting, and maybe even acting. Those cargo planes might be a hint, or just a coincidence. But one thing's clear. As long as this war keeps the US busy, China's got no reason to want it over. This is the state of affairs. If you found this video interesting, drop a comment, hit like, and share it. Until next time.